Okay, good evening, everyone. It is 6 p.m., March 16th, 2026, and it's time to start the city council meeting. Ms. Jones, roll call, please.
Present.
Mr. Shuck.
Here.
Ms. McGinnis.
Here.
Ms. Nally.
Here.
Ms. Price.
Here.
Mr. Prine.
Here.
Mr. Taylor.
Here.
Mayor Northmore.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Brian Reese, please.
All right, invite you to join me in prayer. Our Father, we come before you this evening and we thank you for the privilege of being here tonight in City Hall and for all the items on the agenda tonight and just the privilege it is to engage in civil duty and handle these matters for the good of our city. And we thank you for those who serve on our council in this way. Thank you for those who serve on our police department and the swearing in we're going to do here in a moment. I pray that you just bless that family and keep our city just safe through their service. Thank you for the work that they do. Keep them safe as they do it. And be with all the other items. Give wisdom and discernment to our council as they consider these matters and make decisions for our future. And we just pray your blessing in the 70s and in the 20s. You're good. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Let's stand together. I invite you to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Okay, thank you all for attending tonight. So the first thing we're going to do under announcements and public comment, we're going to swear in as Captain of Investigations, Jeffrey Dahl. So if we could move forward.
I, Jeff Dahl, a member of the Franklin, Indiana Police Department,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
the Constitution of the State of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully discharge all of my official duties as a captain
all my official duties as a captain
with the Franklin Police Department.
with the Franklin Police Department.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
We got a nice book, some of it, don't we? There you go. There you go. This one looks better for the picture.
All right, perfect.
And then you have to do the. Yeah. All right, so any family wants to come up? Okay. All right, are we good? Thank you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Okay, thank you. Is there any other announcements or public comments? Hearing none, we will go on to the consent agenda.
Move to approve the meeting minutes from the March 2nd City Council meeting as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We'll go into old business.
Move to read old business by title only.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to read by title only. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we will go on to item number 1, approval of ordinance 2026-03, Annexation to be known as Umbarger Lane Annexation 2026, 130 acres, and we could take action tonight. Planning Director Joanna Tennell.
Good evening. This is the first piece of 3 requests this evening. It is for the annexation of Umbarger Lane Annexation, 130 acres. The public hearing was held at the last city council meeting, and the Johnson County Commissioners have approved and adopted the ordinance removing the property from the Needham Fire Protection District at their meeting last Monday. Therefore, if this is approved, we would put the legal notice in the paper, and then it could take effect 30 days thereafter. It's ready for the board's consideration and action.
I want to just say, Mr. Mobley's in the crowd and Mrs. Mobley's in the crowd, are friends of mine that live on 75. A lot of the things that was brought up, a lot of the questions that you'd had and concerns was addressed, majority of them at the last meeting. I don't know, Derek, if you had the opportunity, did you watch that online when you were in New York City?
I did. I will disagree that my questions weren't answered, though.
All of them?
No, certainly not all of them.
Not all of them, but a majority. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
With the, just to make sure I'm doing it right, with the bringing the annexation, is the RS3 and the agricultural tied into this vote, or is it a different vote?
They are separate votes.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve of the ordinance 2026-03 as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I would ask for a roll call vote, please.
So they are voting
Annexation, correct.
for annexation.
Correct.
Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Shuck,
Aye. Yes.
Mr. Prime,
Yes.
Ms. McGinnis,
Yes.
Ms. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Austin,
Yes.
Ms. Nally.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. The motion carries. So we go on to item number 2. Approval of ordinance 2026-04, rezoning to be known as Umbarger Lane Woods, rezoning 2026-53 acres, and we can take action tonight as well. Planning Director Joanna Tennell.
The public hearing for this was also held at the last city council meeting. The property that is being requested to be zoned agriculture is the area that is currently the existing woods and is approximately 53 acres in size. It's ready for the board's consideration and action.
Joanna, we know that 53 acres is a pretty dense woods. It's pretty wet there. There is a pond there, a lake pond. And right now, it's just going to be staying exactly as it is.
That is my understanding.
Thank you.
And the zoning designation will be agricultural,
The
correct?
zoning designation would be agriculture, and it is my understanding that that piece of ground is staying in the ownership that it currently has, Palladium Properties LLC. That Arbor Homes' interest is for this property that you see highlighted will be the next request.
Thank you. Make a motion to approve the ordinance 2026-04, rezoning of Umbarger Lane Woods, rezoning 2026-5, 26 with the 53 acres as presented.
Second.
Mr. Taylor,
Wait a minute, did we get a second? to this?
Josh.
It was me.
Okay, I didn't-
I barely could speak there for a
Okay, I
moment.
didn't hear the second. Thank you, Josh. Okay, I'm sorry, Jan. We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
sure. Mr. Taylor,
Yes.
Mr. Shuck,
Yes.
Mr. Prime,
Yes.
Ms. McGinnis,
Yes.
Ms. Price,
Yes.
Mr. Austin,
Yes.
Ms. Nally.
Yes.
7 yes.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Motion carries. We'll go on to item number 3, approval of ordinance 2026-05, rezoning to be known as Umbarger Lane Tillable acreage rezoning 2026, 77 acres. Action can be taken tonight. Planning Director Joanna Tennell.
So the remaining acreage of the 130 acres is the southeast, or the northeast corner of Umbarger and County Road 75 South. The subject property is basically the area that is currently tillable. The request before you is for rezoning with the offered commitments that are attached in both the resolution that was forwarded by Plan Commission and is a part of the rezoning ordinance. And it's ready for the board's consideration and action.
I move to approve. Oh, go ahead. Do you have something?
Let's see. I'd just like to, to talk about this one before we make any motions. We're looking to bring it in at RS3 with commitments to 60% of those lots being, 10,000 square feet. If you look along Interstate 65, along the lots that are out there, whether it be Paris Estates or Jefferson Point, all those lots are about 13,000 square feet, was the smallest one I could find. I don't think we should be bringing this in at an RS3 and having, 7,000 square foot lots. Ultimately, everybody that has contacted me before and after this has come to us for the second time, not a single person has said, I really want you to bring Arbor Homes into Franklin. I want 200 more homes out on that side of the city. So I think we need to really talk here and have some discussion on the size of the lots, the number of lots, and, how we want the view of our city going forward, because that is right along the interstate. Ultimately, they're going to put RS3 in the smallest houses right there next to the interstate. And I don't know if that's the look we want to coming into the city for the next 30 years.
I agree with Mr. Taylor. I think too, with potentially Innovation Park coming in across the road, there's going to be a housing addition going in there at some point, and I think we need to set a standard.
And the other thing, I really appreciate what Joanna and her team has done to bring the architectural standards, but there's still some other standards that, if you go in through there and look at those houses, that the 3 rows that are back to back to back, ultimately those can be flat back. There's no bump outs that are required. The park is, an upgrade. But, this is a cookie cutter neighborhood that if I went to Westfield and looked at the Silverthorne neighborhood that's in Westfield, and it's not one that's going to, wow anyone. So I really think we need to, this should be about 170 homes to 180 homes max with bigger lots, add some ponds, bring some other things into it versus being very cookie cutter. Another thing with the non-monotony, is that mirroring? Does that count? So if it's one of their homes is the Taylor version, and on their pictures, right side garage, left side garage, is that the same thing in the monotony or is it different?
It would be considered the same elevation, be it left hand or right hand.
Okay. And are you going to be the one that's going to tell them on the point system? How's that going to be handled?
So anytime a building permit would come in, it's submitted through the portal and is reviewed by the staff planner, which is Alex Sketchel, and then also the building official. When Alex gets it, he not only looks to make sure that all the setbacks are being met, driveway widths, et cetera, but he also will look at each of the structures themselves and make sure that it meets the facade requirements. And if they do not meet, he does contact them. Or if there is the same house within the area that it's anti-monotony, he will contact them. We do this on a number of our other developments that have zoning commitments. In Winterfield is one of them, and Kingsbridge. So it's not uncommon for us to have zoning commitments. It's part of our process, so it's not adding anything additional that we don't already do for some reason or another.
So right now, it's 60/40, 60% Silverthorne,
Correct.
40%,
Yeah,
As a
But-
minimum,
as a minimum. Yeah, it could be more.
yeah, but, yeah. and-
I'm assuming, excuse me a second.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm assuming that if someone wanted to build Silverthorne in one of those other lots, they could, because some of those lots are pretty deep and not exactly 60 by 130, correct?
They can, and there are Silverthorne models that actually would fit on the smaller lots.
Okay. Also, if we did all Silverthorne at 77 feet across the front, because we're talking about doing 75 right now, or 77?
77.
77, yeah, that's what I thought. So, any idea what that would be if they were all Silverthorne? Anybody?
How many lots they would lose?
Yeah, I did the calculation, so let me just go ahead and tell you what I come up with, okay? So I'm thinking about 184, so we'd lose 18 lots. It seems insignificant to me to put all Silverthorne there just to gain, or just to gain 18 lots, you know, the difference. So I'm for the project. I've done some calculation, I've done some research. People are not looking for larger homes anymore. If you go online and look, they're not looking for larger lots either, because I did it both ways, did some research. The last time the city approved a housing addition was 2022. So we always get wording back or feedback, hey, we're growing too fast. But that's really just a myth, really. Because every 4 years, if we added 202 homes, we would not be at, we're at 26,000 people right now, and at 4 people a house, we still wouldn't be at 30,000, maybe a little over 30,000, but it would take us over 20 years to get there. So I get more feedback from locals that we can't afford houses. So not necessarily these houses, but the houses in between here and there, the step-up houses, the people who are first-time home builders that are, or buyers, and are moving into smaller homes, very smaller homes, and looking for a way to step up to the next level. And then the next level. These are not custom homes. We do have custom homes in here. And we're about ready to fill the last custom home development on the books. Now, there's another one getting ready to come through, right?
Correct.
And we're still about 2 years away from filling the custom homes at Hillview. My personal projection, because I know one of the builders out there. So I still think we need the housing, and I think it fits. And I think if, you know, and I look up the highway and I see storage units on, and I own storage units. I see storage units on the north side of 44. I see storage units on the south side of 44. So this is a lot different than what we see currently on, especially the south side of 44. We're going to stay away from warehouses. We've already talked about that, so that is not something that we want on that side of 65. I think this housing addition makes a lot of sense for the growth of Franklin. I also know that Franklin College is coming in with that project across the street. They're going to be a little bit bigger lots, aren't they?
No.
No, about the same size?
So let me back up there a little bit. They will, and Joanna can help me with this, and we're getting off on a different subject, that's another, but you asked. The college has changed, their lots are going to be bigger where they back up to the Jefferson Meadows lots.
Okay.
They will be the same there, and then once they cross the street, it's my understanding the lots would be a little bit smaller, but they're going to be high-end housing. So you asked the question, I think I
Yeah.
answered that.
I also did some research on, you know, what housing additions, what their frontage across the street is. Most of the custom home neighborhoods are 100 foot. Most of the other neighborhoods are not 100 foot across the front. This is not a custom home neighborhood, so I think it just fits what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, I agree with that. I think it does fit, but I think it's too many homes for that spot. And, ultimately, I would like to see that number down a little bit and bring it all in as an RS2 versus an RS3. And the other biggest thing, we've got, how many more homes does Arbor have to build on the east side? How many lots are they still building over there?
In Bluffs?
Yeah.
There's only, Section 5B was just recorded, and they have one more section, which are not as large as the original sections. So I don't know that number right off the top of my head, but
How
that
many
development
homes-
is almost done.
When that's done, how many homes are going to be in Bluffs? I couldn't find it. I was going to, do you know, Bob? Is that close? No?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want to
just-
misspeak.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's just, it seems like we're putting all of the housing into Arbor's basket. And ultimately, it's all the same home. Right now, we're going to dress these homes up and put more siding and more brick on them. It's going to be the same home, and probably 40% of the neighborhood, that is the same thing at Bluffs Creek. Because, you look through their website, Silverthorne, they only had 7 different models. I know they had more models in the Arbor, but it's still the same homes that are on the other side of the, why do we have to jump on Arbor right now? Bring it into the city, bring it into RS2, bring it in with the commitments, and then, see if someone else wants to do it, or Arbor wants to up their game and, go someplace else.
So I did want to answer the question regarding Franklin College. The lots that abut the existing homes, minimum lot size is 12,500 square feet with a minimum lot width of 85 feet. That's measured at the right-of-way. And then for the rest of the detached homes, the minimum lot size is 10,800 square feet with a minimum lot width of 75 feet.
So all the rest of theirs are coming in at 75, right now, as it's being.
As proposed, yeah.
As proposed, it's all coming in at 75.
Or greater.
Okay. Where, ultimately, we're bringing this one in with, some of them that are not, and they're going to be at, what's the RS3 that they're going to be at?
A minimum of 60.
60. I think we can, set the example, set the standard here that, ultimately, we don't have to take the first one. This is a prime place for homes, and I would love to see a lot of homes here, but I think the 170 to 180 is a much better number.
So to add to the conversation a little bit in regard to that, so when we went through the process for Kingsbridge planned unit development, this is exactly the same conversation that we had with them regarding the different lot sizes, and that was a bit of back and forth. At the end of the day, there were larger lot sizes that are provided in Kingsbridge. However, if you ever are driving 31 and look along the ones that are paralleling 31, those houses are substantially smaller in width than the lots themselves. And in a lot of those cases, you could almost fit a whole nother house in between the existing houses, which gives you a completely different look and a different feel. And all of those homes, meet the minimum square footage because most of them are 2-story. So some of the discussion, regarding lot size, you may not get a bigger home with a larger lot.
But we're only talking about 18 lots difference if they're all 77 feet, based on my calculation.
Correct.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah. No, I get it. I just think there's, to me, if you look at that map, there's nothing that says that looks like a great neighborhood. It looks like a very cookie cutter map, then we could, ultimately, I just want something better for Franklin. That's what we told them the last time when they were here, is, we just want something better for Franklin, and I don't think that map's it. Are the standards better? Absolutely. Are, the requirements better? Absolutely. Is that a better lot? Is that a better layout? Is there enough walking trails? Is there enough park space? Is there little pocket parks that, you can sit down with, the stroller and the baby and the dog? There's none of those things are there. It's very cookie cutter when it comes to how it was built. They basically said, from last time, we wanted a park in there. Now they put as many homes as they possibly could in that space.
Anyone else?
How many lots do we have currently vacant, not sold in all subdivisions?
About 200.
I was gonna say, I thought Steve had that number off the top
Yeah,
of
I
his head.
thought I had it with me. I don't have it exactly, but there's about 200, and there's about 450 to 60 lots that can be developed. And in 2022, the last time that we did do a subdivision, and I just want to say, we talk about why are we bringing Arbor Homes in? We have talked to every builder in the state of Indiana, custom builder, Lennar, what was the other one we talked to? Weiss or something you was talking about? Dries.
Yeah, we've had
talked to every
discussions
builder
with-
in the state of Indiana, and 22 was the last time we had anybody. I personally think this is a great subdivision. It's laid out for where it's at. I think it's laid out perfect. That's just what I see. And I'm the first one that Arbor will tell you, I fought them tooth and nail about bigger lots. We like bigger lots, although I do see the other side, that we have people coming to me and saying, we don't want to buy a lot, we want to buy a house. They want smaller lots. It's just what does people want. I just think this gives a different option. It is not a cheap subdivision. This is, in my eyes, it's a little bit higher end subdivision. When you go from 450 to 650 and think it's not good enough for people, I'm just a little bit surprised, quite honestly. So I like the subdivision. I'm glad hopefully we get some silverthorn. I would like to see 100% silverthorn. We talked about that. We also talked about making the numbers work. And comes a time and the numbers just don't add up. It just doesn't work. So I want better. We're getting ready to talk about here in a few minutes about some 1 acre lots that we're going to have in another subdivision that's being proposed. So we need all kinds of housing, and to me, this is like the step right before you get into custom homes. And also, you can go to West, we didn't talk about this with Arbor, but you did identify with me at Legends West. There are several Silverthorn homes in there, and you cannot tell the difference between the Silverthorn and the custom home. And Ken Koski was one come to me and said, and I think Festival Country, just last week, Mayor, I would like to know what's wrong with Arbor Homes. I have a Silverthorn home, and I really like my home. Is there a problem with them? So there's some good Silverthorn homes. Every builder has some issues. Every builder gets complaints. I hear them every day, so it's not just Arbor. So there I've said my piece, and it all started with how many homes do we have? We don't have very many, and 200, it's going to help, but it's still, and like people, Todd, you kind of mentioned this, people talking about growing too fast. I don't want to grow fast, and I think we're growing at the right speed. We're not trying to.
Seems like it.
Yeah, so.
A custom home builder could not afford that piece of ground and build houses on it. Just couldn't. I've done it on a smaller scale, and was fortunate to purchase it at the amount of money that we paid for it. That one, you couldn't do it unless you had a very deep pocket. And if it was such a great idea, the people who owned it would have done it.
Is there anyone else? Make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-05 for the 70 acres as presented.
That includes the commitments, sir? With the commitments?
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and roll call vote, please.
Mr. Taylor?
No.
Mr. Scheck?
Yes.
Mr. Prime?
Yes.
Ms. McGinnis?
No.
Ms. Price?
No.
Mr. Austin?
Yes.
Ms. Nally?
Yes.
Mayor, yes, 4-3.
Okay, thank you. Motion carries. Thank you, Joanna.
Thank you.
We'll go into the next item, which is approval of budgetary ordinance 26-04, amending budgetary ordinance 26-01, non-tax supported funds. This is a public hearing tonight, so at this point, Jan, do you have anything you want to say?
I do not know, presented last meeting. Adding Riverboat, that was the main amendment.
Okay, so is there any public hearing on this one? We have it, we're opening it for public hearing. Is there any comments? Hearing none, we'll close. We're ready for action on that one.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we will go on to the next item. Approval of budgetary ordinance 26-02, additional appropriation from general fund. And this is also a public hearing. Jan, do you have anything on that one? Okay, so we will open this up for a public hearing. Is there anybody who would like to comment on this one? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing and ready for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by saying aye. Hearing none, we will go into new business.
Move to read new business by title only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to read new business by title only. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And I am going to change this one just a little bit. Joanna had something she needed to do, and she asked me if we could put 5 and 6 on, move them up, which plays right into what we were just talking about. Approval of ordinance number 5, approval of ordinance 2026-06, rezoning be known as Eagles Landing rezoning. This is introduction. Joanna, please.
Thank you. So this evening before you is the introduction of Eagles Landing rezoning. The rezoning is for approximately 43 acres to be rezoned from PUD to RS1 with a number of commitments that are attached, and this is set for public hearing April 6th.
Okay, so is there any questions for Joanna on this one being introduced? Okay, thank you, Joanna. That one's introduced, and now this one here, also introduction. Approval of ordinance 2026-07, rezoning to be known as Eagles Landing PUD 2026. Planning Director Joanna Tittle.
Good evening. So this is a companion piece to the ordinance proposed with the rezoning to RS1. The reason that we're proposing to have an additional ordinance is because the Eagles Landing project was originally proposed as a full PUD. So there are a number of standards in that PUD ordinance that will be void should you approve the rezoning to RS1. In order to streamline and make sure that it's very clear for not only staff to administer, but also the public, we are proposing the PUD ordinance to repeal the original one and replace it, therefore taking out any of the sections that would be in conflict with 2606. And it essentially is the existing building, which was the Indiana Golf Academy, and there is a proposed commercial lot immediately north of it, which would be the only PUD remaining. And this is also set for public hearing April 6th.
Joanna, could you share for members of the public, since you and I have sat through the planning commission on this, essentially they're taking how many residential lots previously were approved and paring them down to large lots? I know Mr. Curry's, perhaps he can answer that question right off the top of his head.
I can, if I know Joanna can, but.
Joanna, I'm sure she can. Roger, how many lots previously were approved?
Okay, yeah, my name's Roger Curry, and I live here in Franklin, and Fred Paris and Michelle Paris and I are the owners and members of the estates at Franklin. So the original, the PUD Joanna was referring to that would be changed, it was 91 residential lots, and we're reducing that from 91 to 16.
And those are rather large, 1-2 acre type of estate lots, correct?
Yes, so the commitments actually specify, even though it's RS1, that the minimum lot size would be 1 acre. And so we have some, of course, that are bigger than that, but that is the minimum lot size. And we have also in the commitments a 100-foot width for the front setback.
And then the second PUD part needs to stay because there are still existing business.
Correct, yes. So when
And that's why, that's the,
reason.
yeah, that's the real basic information.
When we acquired it, the building was vacant. So there was some thought about tearing it down, but we improved it. And so it's now full, and the uses that are being made are what the ones were that were in the original PUD. So if we would have gone away from that, then we would have had non-conforming uses.
Right. So I kind of wanted to break it down to basics on why there's two separate requests. It's one development, but two separate requests in terms of why the PUD needs to be repealed and then replaced. Because it kind of got a little different use for those two things. It's already in existence. Thank you, Roger.
You're welcome.
And we did discuss the commercial lots to see if it could be rezoned in one of our standard zoning districts. And due to the nature of the existing structure and the diversity of the uses in that, the majority of those uses would have been legal nonconforming. So it didn't make sense to throw them legal nonconforming when we could just maintain the PUD standards for those two areas.
Okay, anybody else, anything for Joanna? Okay, thank you, Joanna. It's introduced, and now we will go back to, thank you, Roger, for coming tonight. We will go up to item number 1, which is also introduction of budgetary ordinance 26-05, amending budgetary ordinance 25-13. Clerk Treasurer Jan Jones.
Yes, this is actually an introduction, and I'm asking the board, if they so choose, to also make a motion to approve tonight as well. This is for the GIS specialist, the GIS coordinator position that was hired in hopes that he can start next Monday. So that's why we would like to run this through. They ended up moving this, so you can see on there that it changes, that you could make up to 70,000, 45.7% planning and engineering, 23.6% sewer utility, and then 30.7% from the MS4 budget. So in red, you can see the changes.
And this is essentially the exact same ordinance you approved earlier in the year. What Jan is referring to, as you recall, under the law, if a full board, which we have here tonight, thank you very much, is unanimous in its motion to hear it and act on first reading, you can do so. So Jan and I thought this might be one that you could consider, since it's the exact same ordinance as you had before, except adding the GIS position that's been created. So we would need, if you're inclined to do so, we would need 2 motions. Number 1, to first hear and act on first reading, and that would require 7-0 vote. And if that vote passes, then you would need a motion to approve it as presented.
There was a lot of enthusiasm at the Board of Works on the fact that we were going to take this on, right? So
Yes.
I think it's a good idea.
There was, exactly, yes.
Is that a motion to forego the rules?
If you could use that as a motion, then yes.
Yeah,
it
and
is a
the
motion.
actual motion is to hear and consider on first reading. We're not getting
Yes.
rid of rules, we're just following a different rule.
Thanks for
Correct.
keeping me
Okay, you're
straight.
welcome.
Where's that taser at?
Yeah, that's right. They won't give me a second.
The taser?
Yeah,
The taser?
yeah, they won't give me a taser, sir.
All right, I'm sorry, Sean, can you clarify the
As-
motion? Or did you do it?
Todd did it.
Todd did it?
And I
Okay.
just seconded
Todd,
it.
you want to clarify that then, since I was talking?
Oh, my gosh. Yes, I will attempt this. I move to approve the first reading this evening. Close enough?
Move to approve
Move
and
to approve
consider
and
upon first
consider
reading.
Upon first reading.
That's exactly as I heard it, sir.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a
Thank you.
second. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Now it's ready for your consideration.
Move to approve ordinance 26-05.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We will go to the next item, yearly tax abatement compliance reports for approval, Community Development Specialist Dana Monson.
Good evening. It is spring, it is snowing, basketball starts tomorrow, and I have compliance. Must be March. So this is our first round of the compliance reports that the EDC heard last Tuesday. All of the companies that are listed in this report were recommended for approval. They all have done very well. We're definitely seeing an upswing in investment numbers as well as wages. I think almost every one of these are well above what their wages were and well above in what the estimated numbers of employment were. Mr. Taylor, do you have any comments from the EDC as well?
No, that pretty much covers it. The wages were definitely up across the board. And, you know, everybody seemed like everything was moving in the right direction on all of them. So it was good to see.
So I will go ahead and read these into the record.
Thank you.
Ms. Gray.
Thank you.
So it is C 2026-01, Ishan 2110, C 2026-05, Dual Tech 2311, C 2026-13, Innovative 3D 2117, C 2026-14, Innovative 3D 2411, C 2026-15, Innovative 3D 2412, C 2026-17, LA Crossroads 2004, C 2026-18, Lago Properties 2310, C 2026-19, Malarkey Roofing 2401, C 2026-20, Malarkey Roofing 2402, C 2026-35, Patch Development 1710, C 2026-36, Patch Development 2111, C 2026-38, Peer Development 2128, C 2026-55, Peer Development 2509, C 2026-41, WK Investments 2319, C 2026-43, RP&E 2510, C 2026-49, Shelby Gravel 2017, C 2026-50, Shelby Gravel 2018, C 2026-51, Sunbeam 1715, C 2026-52, Sunbeam 1907, C 2026-53, Sunbeam 2010, and C 2026-54, Sunbeam 2305. All of these are here for your approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, we will go in to item number 3, request waiver of noncompliance for Form 322 Tax Abatement Community Development Specialist Dana Monson.
Yes, this is a waiver of compliance. I want to make sure this is for NSK. NSK has been a very good partner with the city. They have always turned in their compliance. We have never had any issues. This was a really huge surprise when it came across to the EDC that they had this. Basically, what has occurred, they did do some expansion work at their facility on Bering Drive. They were inadvertently told by a tax person that they filed the Form 322 at the same time as this CF1, and that is not correct. They actually had to file it last June. So they received some erroneous information, didn't quite understand. Literally the day that I was contacted by the county and they said, hey, we don't have the 322, you're not going to be able to do the CF1. I sent an email and I actually got a call from Kyle that evening. He was in Mexico and he called me and he said, oh my gosh, I don't know how this happened. We will get it rectified. And the next day I had everything I needed in my inbox. They were very, very prompt, very sorry. It was just simply, they just received poor information. I mean, there's just nothing more to it. It was total accident. As I explained to the EDC, we have literally never had an issue with them on a CF1 or any kind of compliance. So, Mr. Taylor, I don't know if you have a comments or.
Yeah, NSK's always been good to community and always had all their stuff in on time since I've been on the EDC. So we went and voted to give them the compliance.
That's your motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
If I might, just because there's a lot of students out there with glassy eye covered going, what the heck's
I'm
going?
sure.
Just in general, for those people in the public and those watching, when a company comes in and asks for tax abatements, they appear before the EDC and the council and say, we ask that because we're going to do certain things with the development of our business. Those are the requirements. Each year, Dana's job is to make sure they have done what they've promised this board that they're going to do. So those first sets of readings were compliance provisions, where all those companies that you heard from had done exactly what they told us they were going to do. That's why Dana reports to, or Dana reports to this board. This one that you're hearing now, you understand they missed a filing deadline, but then filed it immediately. And this board has the authority to waive that requirement, since no harm, no foul. So that's what we're doing up here, other than just reciting numbers.
Dana, how many abatements NSK have on file right now?
5. NSK Precision has.
5 left.
Yes, they have 5, and NSK Precision has 4.
Shocked they missed one.
Yeah, this, like I said, this does not happen with them. This was really
Obviously.
surprising.
I think Mr. Taylor had a motion to approve the waiver.
Motion to approve the waiver noncompliance.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by saying aye? Okay, hearing none, we will go on to the last one. Request waiver of noncompliance for Form 322 Tax Abatement, Community Development Specialist, Dana Monson.
This is another excellent company that, again, we've just really never had any issues with. This is WK Investments. This is the company owned by Will Harvey and Casey Myers that actually owns the building at 1424 Commerce, or 1400 Commerce, I'm sorry, that Rapid Prototyping and is in. Rapid Prototyping has filed everything on time. They are lessees now of WK Investments. The timing of the sale of when this went forth kind of came about at the same time. We've seen this issue before with Franklin Tech Park and Ishan. It crossed paths as to when this Form 322 should have been filed. Mr. Harvey didn't realize that there was a partial assessment done by the county. Not all counties choose to do that. Our county does. So he wasn't aware that he was yet ready for that Form 322. When they did the initial building, it was all done in 1 year, so there was no crossover years and no partial assessments. Again, he missed the deadline, and he was another one. As soon as I contacted him, next day, I had everything that I needed. He was very, very sorry. And again, this is not someone that messes up. They just don't do this. So this was truly just a complete error, just a misfiling.
And I gather, Dana, from looking at your material, because of the timing where this is not a situation where the tax has been paid and we have to refund it.
Correct. Neither one.
Change that
Correct.
anyway.
Yeah, no, there won't be any changes in what taxes. No, ma'am.
I move to approve the waiver of noncompliance, Form 322 tax abatement.
Second.
as spoken of.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed by saying aye? Okay, hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dana. Okay, there isn't any other business. We'll go into council comments. We'll do it a little different this time and start with you, Sean, if that's all right.
Nothing tonight, sir.
Todd?
Ms. Gray, I think it was important that we take the time sometimes to tell the audience and our students what we're voting on and what's taking place. So thank you for taking that initiative this evening. Other than that, nothing, Mayor.
Thank you. Irene?
No, nothing for me.
Jennifer?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, so I'm here with the Mayor's Youth Council, and we're currently working on organizing a dog walkathon downtown to help promote the new dog water fountains we're putting downtown to make our trails more pet-friendly. Most recently, we handed out flyers to the local small businesses downtown to help promote this walkathon. And it's on April 26th if anyone wants to come and walk.
Thank you. Ken?
I have nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Ann?
Nothing, thank you.
Josh, are you awake? Josh?
Nope, nothing.
Josh has had a long trip today, in case anybody didn't know.
Do we want to introduce the other members of the youth council?
Yes,
Clerk
Willa.
treasurer is pointing that out.
Oh, yeah, I'm here with Olivia, Grace, Mia, Arthur, and Brooks, and I'm Willa.
Oh, only first names, that's great.
Yeah, so we're going to have to talk about that, the next Mayor's Youth Council.
Well, it's good
Yes.
enough for Cher and Oprah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good enough for Cher and
No, let's
Oprah
put
and
you on the
those guys.
spot. Come on, stand up,
And
come on.
introduce.
Yeah.
All right.
Mia, wait a
Mia.
minute, Mia. Let- Okay. Thank you, guys, I appreciate that, and we appreciate you coming, all of us up here.
We didn't get her last name either.
So I'm
Willa
Willa
Thomas.
Thomas.
Okay, awesome, awesome.
I'll try to do better too, to remember to,
It's fine.
to remember to have you all stand up. I'll try to do that. All right, Ms. Gray.
Nothing.
Chan.
I have nothing, thank you. I'm good tonight.
Hearing nothing, I just want to tell everybody I appreciate all the hard work that goes into what our whole city workers do and putting up with the wind and the snows and the rains and the flooding. This has been a tough year on all of them, so please give our street department and parks department people a kudos when you see them. So
Yes, sir.
may need a motion to adjourn.